So let me break down the propaganda that's going on here. First, let's look at the right side. Ignore the left side for now, because it's basically just meant to imply things in the left side. The right side is, I mean. So, gender is not just male or female, defined by body parts, sexual orientation, determined by chromosomes. So, they've absolutely changed the entire definition of gender from what it once was. Gender coming from the word birth. I forget which language is the root of it all, but that's basically it. And it's always been used as a synonym for sex up until recently. With all this gender fluidity propaganda, that makes no sense. It is propaganda because it's just making something into... I'm about to get into it on the left side, but it's just confusing. It's promoting dysmorphia and delusion. Like, why change the definition of something that makes sense? You know what I mean? I can give an obvious example, but I really shouldn't have to, because it should just click in your head why that's dumb. But I'm going to anyway. Okay, that's like... I can't even think of a great example. There's like nothing on that level that you know, of not making sensory. That's like all of a sudden the media is saying, no, that's not a tree, that's a schlubelgagel. It's like, we've been calling it a tree. No, now it's a schlubelgagel. It's like, okay, fine then. It's a schlubelgagel. If you're gonna really cry about it like that, fine. Okay, have your schlubelgagel, fine. I mean, I'm still gonna say tree when I'm with my friends and normal people, but you know what? I'll fine. I respect you as a human being. Schlubelgagel it is. And then they're like, it's a plant. No, not even, because that could actually be made as an argument. It is a plant, but a tree, you know? More like it's bipedal. It's like, no, it's a tree. It's a bipedal schlubelgagel. No, it's a tree. It's has a root. It comes from the ground. It does not have 2 feet. Why would you call it bipedal? It's like, well, that's just how I feel. This is a great example because it makes no sense, and this is just exactly the case we're dealing with here, of things just not making sense. So, okay, now let's go and pretend gender is a spectrum. Meanwhile, here we have an image of the circle, the arrows, and the cross. We know the cross is supposed to mean male, and the arrow male, the cross female. And the here you have the circle, and we have the arrow and the cross together. Like, that's supposed to mean something. Like, this is a symbol that makes sense. That's supposed to mean something. Gender is a spectrum. It's like, yeah, it is. You know what the spectrum is? Right here. This is the spectrum. You're either what's on the left or what's on the right, or in between. That's what a spectrum is. Infinite to the left, infinite to the right, and anything in between. So they're just going to go ahead and ignore that. A range of expression. And then we have what is commonly used for actors, these masks, the happy and the sad. It's like, okay, it's a range of like acting. We're going to relate this to acting. They are, I'm not, they are. Like, this is the example they are trying to portray. So I'm just going off their own logic here. I'm really not trying to make fun of anyone or like belittle someone. Like, I am literally just pointing out the obvious here. So right, a range of expression. Let's just pretend that's true, and let's just stay what's on the photo. Stay on what's on the photo. Happy and sad. So, gender is happy or sad. So they've completely changed the entire definition, because it absolutely meant your sex, your race, your kind. Okay, that's the root of the word gender. It's where it comes from. That's why we've been using it that way. And then here, the propaganda comes in and just wipes that all away. Like, no, that doesn't matter. This doesn't matter at all. This is irrelevant. Even though this is just based off this in some twisted fashion, it doesn't matter. This is the way things are. It's like, who the fuck is making up this shit? And who the fuck is eating it all up? Like, are you really, like, ugh. Okay. A range of expression. How you relate to yourself. And then we got a guy in a cigarette, smoking a cigarette, wearing a top hat. How you relate to yourself. How you relate to yourself. How I relate to myself. How can you relate to yourself? Aren't you just yourself? It's like, how am I going to relate to me? It's like, are you even relating to yourself? If that's the fucking question in your head. How can I relate to me? It's like, are you sure you're looking on the inside of yourself? Are you sure? Because it kind of sounds like you're just going through the motions of what you're told to go through. Because if you don't, you're a bigot. And you wouldn't want to be a bigot, right? No, don't think. Don't use your head. Don't use logic. Don't use your brain. Ugh. How could you? That's disgusting. We don't do that here. Obviously, right? A range of expressions. So someone looking in the mirror with a cigarette and a top hat. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? What am I supposed to get out of that? Hello, my name is me. A personal identity. And that's fine. That's fucking fine. Like, obviously, be yourself. Obviously, have a personal identity. But obviously, like, these things are fucking obvious. And what does it have to do with changing the entire definition of gender? Like, that makes absolutely no sense. These things aren't even related. How you act and what your gender is are only related into your instincts. Okay? However, besides that, they are not related at all. It's silly, just silly. How you act, like, that's freedom of expression. You know what freedom means? It means the choice to do whatever you want. It means infinity. That's the definition of freedom in the reality of things. Because if you had no freedom, then things are limited. And that's just not the case. There is infinity in this world. There is free will in this world. But this is just twisting facts. This is promoting delusion. This is promoting dysmorphia. So let's go back to the left. Hello, my name is me, a personal identity. So gender is not male or female. However, my gender is male or female, even though I was born female, or vice versa. You know, like, what the fuck? How does that even make sense? So gender is not male or female. However, you can identify as male or female. What? Huh? Literally, what the fuck? And if you can identify as anything in between, you're just being sexist. You're literally being sexist. You're like, oh, this is what a female's supposed to do. This is what a male's supposed to do. You know what I mean? You're buying into the assigned roles propaganda from the fucking 50s. You're like, I don't identify with that. Therefore, I'm going to identify with it. Gender is not male or female, yet my gender is male. I was born female, but my gender is male. However, gender is not male or female. No. What? What the actual fuck? Literally what? Like, what? What? Like, I could go deeper into this, like, but then we're just gonna go into a different topic. Like, this is shallow. This is dumb. This is not deep. This is confusing. This is meant to not make sense. This isn't confusing, like, oh, I don't get it. This is literally like confusing. Like, the definition of confusing, like, is this. Like, insert confusion into here, and that's what confusion is this. So, so people have been brainwashed into thinking you have to be confused in order to be progressive. You are literally a fucking sheep. You are not the example. You are not leading the way. You are not the head of the progressive movement. You are a sheep. You have been lied to. You are going through the slaughterhouse. You want to pick up some real activism? You want to do something that actually fucking makes sense? There's a lot of things you could do. This is not one of them. This is just bullshit nonsense. But you got nothing to say. This is nonsense. This is bullshit. And I'm fucking tired of it. Not because I'm a bigot. Not because I'm ignorant. I get it. Gay is fine. But it's a sexual orientation. And that's that. Why is your identity your sexual orientation? Huh? What? If that's your identity, that's fucking sad. Oh, what I like to fucking come to is what I identify as. Why? Why would you do that? You don't see people with fetishes trying to get you to like their fetish. You don't see fucking advocates for fucking feet lovers or fucking people who like pissing on each other. That's just something you do in private. Okay, I'm done with this.